Hey guys, Bugcat7 here. Okay, it is Wednesday, May 29, 2019, and I'd like to thank you for visiting the Stonewall Research Channel here on YouTube. Thank you very much. I really much appreciate it, and if you would kindly hit the like button, guys, that would be great. Alright, well, today I want to talk about a particular archaeological site in El Salvador. But I want to go through some of them here because one of the reasons why I held off doing it, besides the fact that, you can look up the list of these sites on Wikipedia here, and, of course, this does not include everything when it comes to these sites. There's small areas in between, and it does also, many of these sites in El Salvador are surrounded by farms and development, etc. Who knows how much of the archaeological sites have been destroyed in the past? We don't know, and there's not a lot of archaeology done. And the stuff that was done there was just terrible. I think Chuck CFAPS just did like a 2-minute one on Tazumal. This, received some very heavy criticism. And, even peer archaeologists were very unhappy that this was quote unquote restored. It was actually rebuilt and covered in concrete. Kind of hard to see if there's any megalithic block or older stonework, but if you're smearing concrete all over it. But they received a lot of criticism on this stuff. And it was not only this site in El Salvador, it was other sites. And even some of these other sites, there's nothing to see. This one, for example, at Casablanca, okay, people have done videos about these, so I'm not really concerning myself with these except to tell you that, there was some very bad archaeology and restoration done at these places. And, it's like a forensic site, if you put it back together again, you have to assume that whatever data we have on these things is accurate enough to get a real picture of whatever was going on here. And let's say, for example, they were wrong in their findings, or wasn't enough, or they put all the pieces back prematurely or badly, or whatever it is. I mean, they shouldn't be doing these things. And, it's all about money and tourism, etc. They want to make it look as pristine as possible, but there's a disadvantage to that, in the, scientific research side. So, these things receive criticism, like I said, even from their own peers and everything. They shouldn't be doing this stuff. And now the government there in El Salvador, they are busy doing their own restorations. Some of these sites are unbelievable. Like this site here, Siwatan, there's 900 structures there. I mean, if you look on Google Maps and go to Google Earth, and look at that stuff. There's a lot of development in these areas, and who knows, I mean, it's just a lot of stuff in the Americas has been destroyed, and there's just, the chances get slimmer and slimmer to get an accurate picture of the past, although they keep on finding new things, and their opinions keep on changing back and forth and back and forth. Look, this one received heavy criticism as well. This is mentioned in the Wikipedia article here, that this restoration work was not good. And a lot of these things go unexcavated to see what they are. They don't know what they are. So, I mean, how are you going to get a complete picture of this area of Central America unless you're going to do some archaeological work there? And it's just the whole issues with that, and this terrible problem with looting, etc., etc. But I wanted to sort of dedicate this video also to my buddy Al. He's from El Salvador. I work with him. He's just an amazing guy and a really nice guy, and I'm going to miss him. He's going back to El Salvador, and, I wish him all the best. And you can always look at this video and see that, he's missed and remember his time back here in the U.S., going back to a nice family, wife, and 2 beautiful kids. So good luck to Al there. I wish him all the best. Good friend. So he has mentioned to me like a year ago that he's so impressed about what they found in Guatemala, and just amazing stuff. And here you have a site with 900 structures right here in El Salvador that remains basically unexcavated. They mapped it and all this kind of stuff, and there's problems with looters and everything else. So just there's a lot of issues with the archaeology going on in El Salvador, although there seems to be plenty of it there, plenty of sites there, ancient stuff, and other interesting things, like this site, for example. And it's an interesting site, this Hoya de Seren. And you see some like primitive stuff here, but look at this. That looks like it's, hewn from solid rock there. I mean, although it, almost looks like maybe mortar, and kind of hard to tell. I can't really tell, but it almost looks like it's either, I don't know, that geopolymer, but look at the accuracy of the cuts in this thing. Okay. Unless that's a restoration, or that doesn't appear to be, but look at the flat area inside here. This appears to be 90-degree angles. See? So it's another interesting site there, but what I really want to talk about is this cave there, called the Corinto Cave, but it's also called the Holy Cave, the Holy Spirit Grotto. And let me read it to you a little bit, and then we'll look at some stuff here. It's just extremely interesting to me. I think this is like a really super interesting site here. And let's see what it says here. The Holy Spirit Grotto, La Gruta del Espíritu Santo in Spanish, is also known as Corinto Cave in Corinto, Morazan, El Salvador. It is a registered national monument of petroglyphs. So, petroglyphs, like, I go out and look at in Petroglyphs National Monument, and we're going to see some hand petroglyphs, hand painting petroglyphs. But here's me out in New Mexico at Petroglyph National Monument in Albuquerque, just outside of the city limits of Albuquerque there, last June. And just to show you, I'm not, if you're a new subscriber, you don't know me, this is one of my playlists here of me at Petroglyph National Monument, looking at climbing the volcanic escarpments like a maniac, with all the rattlesnakes all around and everything, 6 different species of rattlesnakes to get bit by. And here's me climbing up the volcanic escarpment there. So you just know, that I'm not just a guy who reads articles to you, whatever, that I've been out there, I've done that. I've done the actual on-site research. Look where I'm at here. I'm climbing up this volcanic escarpment, and down here is like the Rio Grande, and this is where I'm at. Okay, and I find this little niche up there. This is a video dedicated to Clint Steele of the Kronos channel. And it's just beautiful out in the desert, burning hot, and I'm there with rattlesnakes and lizards and hares, and climbing up this volcanic escarpment. So I'm not just a guy who reads articles and interesting stories out of books. I've been out there doing that. And look, if some of those boulders were like loose, and I'm climbing up there with rattlesnakes in every hole. Alright, so in any case, let's look at this cave thing here. Talk about it. Okay, so this is a national monument of petroglyphs there in El Salvador. The cave is largely associated with the Xibalba legend. The archaeologist Wolfgang Haberlein performed studies in the late 1970s indicating that art belongs to the pre-classic stage of Mesoamerican civilization. The cave likely got its name due to the Mesoamerican association of caves with the underworld, meaning that they are, quote, considered an entrance to the underground world governed by spirits and deities of death, disease, water, and fertility. Okay. The cave is an important cultural and religious site for the Lenca nation, forming part of their traditions and legends of the place where ancestors of the Balam Gala parted, which is mentioned in the Popol Vuh. According to their legends and traditions, is father of all the Lenca people. So you had the Lenca people and the Pipil people there, at, I think, I believe at the same time in the BCs, according to their baloney timeline or whatever. But according to the legend, father of all Lenca people, giving the association of caves with the underworld by Mesoamericans the name of Holy Spirit Cave is ironic, and perhaps an attempt by early Spanish to exorcise, quote unquote, the cave in El Salvador. Okay, so they're trying to exercise it of its real meaning or whatever. The quote unquote holy nature of this cave is further confirmed by a man named Don Argelio Alvarez, who happens to be one of its guardians. Roughly translated, he claims that the cave contains, quote, something magical and inexplicable that inspires tranquility and peace, unquote. Like Landru from Star Trek, Landru, by the will of Landru. Many people from the various religious groups also continue to visit the site and carry out ceremonies, such as what Don Argelio believed to have taken place in the cave many centuries ago. However, it is entirely possible that the cave was instead used for other means. A German scientist found some handcrafted arrows and knives made of obsidian within the cave, leading him to believe that it may have actually been a shelter for hunters instead. Okay, so it could, it should have many, many occupations. I mean, that's extremely common with caves everywhere in the Americas. So that's, hardly surprising there. But let's read on with this a little bit, and then we're going to look at some very interesting pictures. The cave itself is located in a heavily forested volcanic landscape 2 kilometers north of Corinto, and is approximately 60 meters wide, 30 meters in height, and 20 meters deep, with multiple chambers. There are around 200 pictographs within the cave, each of varying colors, including red, ochre, black, green, yellow, and white. The size of each painting varies greatly. Some of the human figures can be up to 100 centimeters in height, although most are only around 30 centimeters. General symbols range from 4 to 50 centimeters in height. To see a variety of images taken from the cave, please proceed to the reference branch to our foundation page. We'll look at that. Due to its location in an area of archaeological and anthropological interest, there is a great desire to develop it as a cultural center. 2 large holes can be seen in an overhanging cliff, which could possibly have been used for astrological purposes. There are also standing stones with cupules, as well as what could possibly be the remnants of an extinct lake or river system, or maybe even canal system. They don't say that, but I say that. An ancient Spanish road also traverses the outcrop, quote, leaving deep cartwheel parallel tracks, indicating travel and trade with Honduras to the north, unquote. So there's your cart ruts that they're calling, cartwheel parallel tracks in solid stone. We'll look at that too, okay? Is that, this is baloney story here. Okay, supposedly not all that long ago. I'm sorry, you got like millions of carts going across there to cut those tracks. The cave is 20 meters to 60 meters in size, with several different chambers and 30 meters in height. This would be sufficient space to support the dwelling of 200 people at a ratio of about 60 square feet per person. So, they're saying the cave is large enough to house like 200 people. So it's, big. Okay. And, the grotto. And, just some elevation information, I believe. And here they showed peoples who occupied El Salvador at that time in the past. They're pre-Columbian. But, what they found here suggests more that it's a Neolithic culture that was here. And let's look at some of that stuff. And here's some photos of the petroglyphs. They painted petroglyphs. Okay. There's the cave. And very interesting, weird petroglyphs here. see various things. And of what's particularly interesting to me is this stuff found by this foundation here. Okay. And there's Corinto, and they talk about it, but here's something interesting to me. This shows two human figures here, and this shows two snakes or zigzag symbols. I found so many of those things out at Petroglyphs National Monument. There's just so many of these zigzag snake things all over the place. I mean, they just pop up in these videos everywhere. And so many other interesting things. Again, if you haven't seen my video series here in Petroglyph National Monument, here's me showing these hand petroglyphs in Piedras Marquesas Canyon in the middle of the summer. Crazy me. Check that out. But let's look at the rest of this stuff from this foundation here. Okay, so there's a hand motif, crayfish, ostrich, another one of these bird figures were always interesting. And turtle again, his turtles are everywhere. And they say vulva here for, this one here, I guess. I just can't determine what. I saw other weird ones at Petroglyph National Monument that's similar to this one right here. Another hand. Human figure with spear. And here's these cupule things that are just very strange. And here you have a dolmen. So, very highly suggestive of Neolithic period work, right? The Corinto cave lies on the northern edge of a considerable volcanic conglomerate and tufa outcrop. The outcrop and its surroundings represent an area of archaeological and anthropological interest. Hence, Concultura's desire to develop it as a cultural center. So, they're just repeating what it said in the Wikipedia. There's a hole in the cliff, I guess, carved in, and there's your cart ruts right here. Okay, in the solid rock there. And that's an awful lot of carts to cut up that rock that way. And, some very hard stone comes from volcanic rock. But, they say tufa. But, now it's all hard and solid. But there's your, cart ruts right there. Another place in this world where these cart ruts are, but, they say it's the Spanish did that. Okay, so, this is from a foundation that recommends that the site be protected because apparently it's not protected enough and, it's not, nobody's overseeing it, which much of this stuff in El Salvador is like this. And it's just more places in the Americas here that are just, in danger of anything happening to them. So, but my friend Al can be assured that there are plenty of sites in El Salvador, and it's, again, like I said, there's other smaller sites. You can see it if you look through things, pictures, travel photos, whatever. And it's just more stuff there. But again, most of the stuff remains unexcavated. And, there's a problem with that. And, we're never going to get a complete picture of what the actual, civilization of the Americas was like. They keep on having new discoveries. There's all this research that hasn't been done. They made certain assumptions about things, and that's evidently a lot was mistaken in the past. So based on these things, so and these restorations, and just so there's a lot of bad stuff that's going on already. Looting, terrible looting. Like 5,000 trenches were dug at one of these sites here in El Salvador. That's a lot, and it just destroys the integrity of the site. You know. So that's what's been going on here, and again, El Salvador is like no different than Belize and Guatemala was apparently, but we'll see how good they are going to be in the future. And the problem is that this stuff is not going to get done while I'm alive. So I'm never going to have a complete picture, and nobody's rushing to do this stuff for whatever reason. It's just the new world. It's not Egypt. It's not Europe. It's not Africa. It's not anywhere else. So, it's not, I guess, high on a priority list or whatever, or just because the antiquity is not as old and not as interesting, or they, again, made certain assumptions about things, but many of these sites have, areas adjacent to them or incorporated within them with this perfect cut, very hard block, harder than steel block and any kind of steel they might have had. Okay, very high alloy steels were going to go above 6.5 on the Mohs scale. That's more modern stuff. That, not ancient iron tools and whatnot. Iron's not that strong at all, or not that hard. Okay. So anyway, guys, I just, I sort of want to do this about El Salvador. You've seen a lot of sites there, but I wanted to go over this site at the grotto there, the Holy Grotto or the Corinto Cave, and the very, very interesting things to be seen there, including these cart ruts, which again, they're claiming, just like they claim everywhere, done by some, more, later in the timeline, European, whatever, just a few, centuries ago. That's it. So, all right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit the like button. Just a little short video about that and my friend Al there, dedicated to my friend Al there. There's plenty of stuff to see in El Salvador, Al. So I hope you get around to visiting in some of those places. Send me some pictures. And anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like button, and I'll see you with a new video very soon. But got 7. Peace.